In this video, we're going to explore a creative sauce that can be used on all sorts of foods, from noodles, Zoodles, which is the zucchini noodles, potatoes, rice, and even nachos. We're going to be using yellow summer squash and potatoes. Bounty and Soul has been consistently sharing summer squash and potatoes in abundance for a while now, and it should be a consistent staple in the upcoming market boxes. So I promise you, this sauce is very tasty. Hi, I'm Annette, and I'm a volunteer with Bounty and Soul, and I love food and cooking. In fact, I've been a vegan for almost 10 years and have just recently graduated from the Forks Over Knives Ultimate Cooking course. This course is all about whole food, plant-based cooking, and I'm excited today to have you into my home and share with you one of my favorite sauces that I make all the time. This sauce will replace any store-bought sauce which are often high in sodium and preservatives and other ingredients that can be inflammatory to the body and increase our risk of disease over time. Another side note too, if you make your own sauce from whole foods, like we're going to do today, it's usually much more affordable and definitely more nutritious. Today we're going to be making 3 different dishes just using this one sauce recipe. In fact, if you stick around, I'm going to show you how you can use the same sauce on top of an awesome plate of nachos. So let's get started. To make the recipe, you're going to need 1 cup of yellow summer squash. And I'm just rough chopping this. You don't need to peel the squash or anything like that. And this is a fairly big squash, so I'm going to use all of it, even though the recipe calls for just 1 cup. But you can add whatever kind of yellow squash you want. I've used different types of yellow squash in the past. I've used patty pan and the traditional yellow summer squash. You're also going to need a cup of potatoes. Peel the potatoes and chop them up as well. You're going to need some garlic, maybe 3 to 6 depending on your love of garlic. I like garlic, so I'm going to use all of this today. And you're also going to need some nutritional yeast. Now I have this as an example. You can buy this at any of the local grocery stores, and Walmart as well. But you're going to need some nutritional yeast, which is going to give it a little cheesy flavor, and it's also high in B vitamins. You're going to need some lemon juice, which I have right here, or you can, squeeze a fresh lemon if you have that. Some onion powder, and some cornstarch, and a little bit of black pepper. And that's all we need for our sauce. Honestly, the sauce comes together very quickly. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to boil our potato and our squash along with the garlic in some boiling water. We're going to boil this until the potato is soft, just like when you're making mashed potatoes. And I'm putting in my garlic. It's going to go right in the water along with the potato and the squash. After that, we're going to drain the water, but we're not going to get rid of the water. We're going to use the water, and we're going to drain them, and we're going to transfer the vegetables into a blender. So I boiled the potatoes and the squash along with the garlic for approximately 10 minutes or so. And after that, I drained it, but I reserved the cooking water because we don't want to throw that cooking water away. It's got a lot of nutrients, it's got a lot of flavor in it, and we're going to use it in our sauce to thin our sauce out. So once you have your cooked vegetables, go ahead and add them to your blender or whatever if you have a NutriBullet, add it to the NutriBullet or your food processor. But we're going to add those right there into the blender. And we're going to go ahead and add all the other ingredients. This is the lemon juice. Here's the nutritional yeast. Here's my cornstarch and onion powder and pepper. I'm going to go ahead and add that in there as well. This. And we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of the water, the cooking water, to it right now. But we're not going to add all of it because it might be too thin. So I'm just going to add like a cup or so of it. Woo! And I'm going to go ahead and blend it. Go ahead and blend it. In a couple of seconds it'll start. And as it's blending, you just want to make sure you get all of it scraped down on the sides so that it thoroughly gets blended. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit until it's and blend it until it's really smooth. Okay, so now I'm going to test it and make sure that it tastes right. I might need to add some salt or some, other kind of seasoning to it just to make sure it's right. Actually, that's very good. It has a very cheesy taste from the nutritional yeast, and I can also taste a hint of the garlic and everything, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. It tastes fine to me. No salt needed. So you can see how simple our sauce went together. So how do we use this sauce? Well, the first dish we're going to make is I'm going to pour it over some whole wheat noodles. This is just 100% whole wheat noodles. I had it in my pantry, and I boiled them till they were tender. I'm going to add some steamed zucchini, and I dry sauteed some mushrooms, and I'm going to put that on top, and that's going to be my dish. So I'm going to take the sauce right now. I'm going to pour it over the noodles, and it's really thick and creamy. You can see right there. And then get that off of there. I'm going to add my steamed zucchini to the top. And my mushrooms that I sauteed. Sauce is good. Let me taste it with the noodles and everything. This is going to be interesting, getting it into my mouth with these noodles. But here we go. It's really good. It's almost like a cheese or an Alfredo sauce. It has a slight cheesy flavor to it, and I personally like the zucchini and the mushrooms a lot. Our second dish is what I call Zoodles, zucchini noodles. I took the zucchini, and I have this device right here. It's called a spiralizer, and I just spiralized it, this zucchini up, and it makes these things like noodles. But if you don't have a spiralizer, that's okay. You can just use a cheese grater like this and take the zucchini, and it will just give you shorter noodles. But you don't have to have a fancy spiralizer. Some people like to eat their zucchini raw when it's like this, but I personally don't like to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these Zoodles and I'm going to put them in a pan on the stove with a little bit of water, and I'm going to saute them for like maybe a minute. And then I'm going to come back and dress the Zoodles. So my Zoodles cooked for about 1 minute, and this is my cooked Zoodles. They're a little more palatable for me, for my taste. So I'm going to add the sauce now, right on top, just like I did with the regular whole wheat noodles. And I'm going to go ahead and add some of those mushrooms that I cooked to it as well. And I know what this is going to taste like. It's going to taste good. But you can add other seasonings, or you can, that you would like to it, to whatever you would like. But see how long the noodles are, the Zoodles are. I'm going to cut this so I can actually taste it. time here. Here. Again, similar to an Alfredo sauce. Well, I promised you nachos, and that's what we're gonna make now, our third dish. If you want to, you can add a little bit of chili powder or chipotle powder or even taco seasoning to the sauce itself to make it a little bit more south of the border. But I like the sauce just the way it is, so that's what I'm gonna use without any other seasonings. So I layered a layer of tortilla chips on my plate, and these were just plain corn tortillas that I bought at the store, and I cut up and I put in my air fryer and air fried them. If you don't have an air fryer and you want to make your own tortilla chips, you can also do it in your oven. You just cut them up and bake them, and make sure you turn them and watch, keep an eye on them, because they do kind of burn sometimes. But you need to, you could do that and make your own tortilla chips. On top of the tortilla chips, I'm going to add my sauce first. I'm going to add my sauce. I'm going to layer it all over the place. And then on top of that, I am going to add some black beans. And I got the organic black beans with no salt added. And I drained them and rinsed them. So I'm going to add my black beans on top of there. On top of that. And then I'm going to add some no evil chorizo. I got the no evil chorizo in my last market box, and I just put it in a pan on the stove with a little bit of water, and I made it into little chunks. So I'm going to add that on here, and it is a plant-based meat substitute. It does contain gluten, but it's really tasty. So here's my chorizo on top of that. I'm going to add my tomatoes that I chopped up. And I'm going to add some onion. I'm using red onion, but you can use any kind of, scallion or green onion, anything you would like. I do have a little bit of a jalapeno that I got in my market box this week. I'm just going to add a couple of those because I'm kind of sensitive to heat. And on top of it all, I'm going to add, I don't want to forget this. I want to add my avocado that I got. And put that on there. Then on top of that, I'm going to add some cilantro to it all. There we go. And there we have our 3 dishes. I told you that we would be able to make 3 dishes with the one recipe. You can see how versatile the sauce is. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this recipe and that you'll give it a try. Join me each week at Bounty and Soul. This is Annette signing off for now. Remember to invest in your health by eating whole, unprocessed foods.